Hello listeners, and welcome to Let's Chat, one of a many an episode where we have a guest speaker sharing their amazing journey towards a better way of being through a teaching, a practice, or from a passion of helping others, be it through mainstream or complementary healing practices. Today we will be chatting with Monica Augustine of Energia, Transform Your Life. Monica lives in Colorado with her husband and is an intuitive life coach and Reiki master teacher. I met both Monica and her husband in Glastonbury in the UK, a lovely time in an awesome Holy Fire Masters training and some wonderful memories shared there. Using intuitive life coaching, Monica helps people to gain insight and support positive change, incorporating Reiki to heal and clear inner blocks to deepen the healing release. And all you need consider is, what do you want to heal? What do you want to change, achieve, or create? And Monica can help you let it unfold, working with you on anything that you feel holds you back, from low confidence, confusion, indecision, self-sabotage, stress, negative thoughts, feelings, and habits. I just want to mention here some of Monica's offerings, what she includes: strengthening your intuition courses. She has Reiki Training, intuitive life coaching, and also a new you program. And there's a statement that I just love from Monica. This is all so that you can take inspired action to live the life your soul desires. Now, how does that sound? Brilliant. And certainly a better way of being. So let's join the conversation here. Let's chat with Monica Augustine. Hi Monica, and welcome to A Better Way of Being podcast. It's wonderful to have you here on the program.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be with you.
Excellent. Intuitive life coaching, Reiki, New You programs, such a wonderful complementary range of services that you offer. Monica, what is your story? What led you in life to be doing what you're doing now? Our listeners here at the Better Way of Being podcast would love to know your story, your soul journey.
Yes, well, with this work, with the intuitive life coaching and the services you listed, I came to this about 7 years ago, like doing this professionally. And I had a business previous to this for about 20 years in Colorado. And it was a voice singing school for kids and teens. And I absolutely loved it. I never thought I would ever stop doing it.
Yes.
And then, after I think going into my 21st or 22nd year, I really felt like it was time to move on. And it just kind of caught me out of the blue. I never saw it coming. I just didn't even, it was kind of scary actually, because I had a lot of people, the kids I loved very much and always will. And there's hundreds of kids I worked with over the years. And I was like, what is happening? But it was like I completely knew in my heart that I needed to move on. And it was one of the scariest things I had to do, because I knew that people were going to feel disappointed. And that was one of my biggest fears, was disappointing the kids.
Yes.
And it was very scary. However, I think you and your listeners might appreciate these dreams I was having. I had 3 dreams leading up to selling the school, which it did sell to a wonderful lady that also has a kids' school for acting in Colorado. And so she married the two. But I had this dream, 3 dreams. One was this medicine man, and he didn't have any teeth. He had a cup of tea. He didn't have any hair. I don't know. It was a symbol of he didn't care too much about outward appearances.
Yes.
But he was so happy. But he smiled at me and he said, Monica, if you don't change your ways, you're going to die.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's what he said. And I was like, I don't know what that meant, but I woke up and I was like, die. That's a really strong, a very strong
Absolutely.
statement.
Yes.
And maybe he meant spiritually die. I don't know, but it was because it was beautiful work I was doing with the kids. I just was ready to move on. And I said, oh, I'm going to just ignore that. It was a dream. I'm just going to move on. The next night, another medicine woman, beautiful African-American woman said, Monica, you're not listening. You're not paying attention. She said the same thing that the man said. And then I started paying attention.
Yes.
But then after a week, I kind of let it go again because I was really scared of making the change. I was terrified really scared of disappointing. That was like my big fear, letting people down, and the kids especially. I really felt like I really wanted to always take care of them, you know, and then I had this big, this dream where I was in this house with the kids. We were on like a field trip, and this big, like, I didn't see it, but it was like a beast or like King Kong or coming through this forest. And we were in this house having like just a gathering with all the kids. And it safely, but it metaphorically shook all the kids out of the house and said, you're not paying attention. And then right after that, I said, okay, I'm going to pay attention. I'm going to
3 times.
yeah, three, kind of like Christmas Carol, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And
They're
then,
not nightmares, not dreams.
yeah, and then I just was like, okay. And then, long story short, I eventually it took like a 2-year process, but I eventually did train people, sold the school. It's doing really well. And I got through it. I was really proud of myself. And then I said, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with my life? I'm not ready to retire, and I want to continue to contribute. And I think I'm a teacher at heart, I think. And even though I'm a musician as well, it's more like I think I thrive more on one-on-one and working with people
Yes.
in groups and things. And my husband, Kevin, who you know,
Yes.
said, Monica, you're so intuitive. Why don't you go to this class called Psychic Horizons? It's a clairvoyant class. They teach you how to hone your skills or develop. And then I did that. And then I also got Karuna Master in Reiki over the next year. And then I got certified as a life coach. And then I just started putting them all together. And then it just felt it was slow going because I worked so much, you know, Sharon, with the school. I was like, I was a little addicted to working, honestly.
Yes.
And I liked it, but there was an addiction element, I think, too. And I said, I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going to be addicted to working. And so I really slowed it down. And then I was really cautious taking clients and growing. And now over about 7 years, it's just really grown into using like the intuition, the intuitive life coaching, and the Reiki together to really help people. And I realized when I did the clairvoyant class, you know, that I had been doing this since I was a kid.
Oh.
But I didn't really know what I was doing. And there wasn't an outlet to discuss it.
No.
It wasn't really that accepted. And I kind of knew, but then when I started taking the classes, something dawned on me. I learned a lot from those classes, but I also was like, I've done this before. And I've had dreams that would come true the next week or day, and just when I was a kid. And then I was like, and Kevin, my husband's so intuitive himself. And I never thought to do that until he brought it up. So I'm really glad I did.
Wow, that's amazing.
Oh, thanks. The dreams were just really like, you've got to pay attention, you know, and I was very scared to listen.
Yes, it's like spirit, the soul. There's a whole range of reasons those dreams come in so powerful. Was there guiding you? Your next path is ready to unfold for you. Let us help you do it. And look, and you said how you took it slowly, but how beautiful is that, and important to build the foundation of understanding. You had a remembrance that you used to do this as a kid, so back on path, and it's been unfolding ever since for you.
Yeah, it really has. It's really beautiful, you know. And one thing that comes to me, Sharon, is is, when the kids would come in for their voice lesson after school, or their songwriting lesson, or whatever we were preparing for, a show or whatever, I would just naturally, I don't know why, but it felt good, but I would just tune into in my heart space, and just, this was before any of the lessons or classes. And I just said, how is this child today, and what do they need? And I never talked about it, but then when they would come in, it'd be exactly what they would say. Or if they were having trouble at school with a friend, it was like I taught like ages 6 to 18. And there's a lot that happens for those
Oh,
teenagers.
yes.
And it was like sometimes I would hear they're having a really hard time with their peer group. They're really being bullied, and I didn't ever say it, but I heard it, and then they would say it, and I was like, oh my gosh. But I never really thought much of it, except I just thought it helped me teach better.
Oh, yes, and it did. So naturally, you were already doing it within that teaching practice.
Right. Yeah. And so that was really, it was just like a fun little thing I did. I didn't think much of it, but
Yes.
it's just kind of fun. Like I have a secret, or something like that.
But how powerful! And to be able to help, well, you've been helping kids with that without really knowing that's what you were doing by the sounds of it, and then growing into this. So you've helped so many people with your gift cope with whatever it is they must be doing. So that is an amazing story to what you're doing now. Thank you for sharing your intuitive life coaching. Can you share with listeners what this involves, and how can this help an individual with their way of being?
Absolutely. So what this looks like, an intuitive life coaching session would look like, people would schedule for a session online, and I do 60 minutes or 90 minutes. And they would, when they schedule, there's a section where they would put notes, whatever they want to, as they schedule online, what they want to focus on.
Okay.
It's not required, but it's nice to have that direction to, like, why are they calling?
Mm-hmm.
And then we begin by either Zoom or on the phone, or in person now. Few people have been vaccinated, they come in person.
Yes.
But and before each session, Sharon, I tune in before, like, set my space and tune in 15 minutes before each session to that person. And I typically ask the questions just mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. How is this person? And what is it they need today? And where do we focus? So I basically just open my heart, clear my mind. I have a little process I go through. And that's the process I teach people in the intuitive, strengthening your intuition classes. I teach them just the same thing I do. And then I tune in, and I get out of the way, and I just allow spirit, life, love, God, however you want to look at that or phrase that, to come through. And my job is just to be the messenger, the observer, the messenger, the interpreter of that subtle spiritual energy that's coming through. And it will come through clairvoyantly, clairsentiently, or clairaudiently for me the most. And then we begin to start. But I usually start with a prayer with them. I just like starting with a prayer. And then we begin. And I just say, well, this is what came up first. And how does that sit with you? And how does that apply to what you're working on? And then more information starts to unfold that spirit just kind of gives to us. And their body releases a lot of information too, the person's psyche and their body. And we just work together on whatever it is that they were hoping to get. And so, yeah, I use the coaching questions, spiritually guided questions, and tuning into them. And let me see. Yeah. And this, just kind of continue to ask questions. If there's not clarity in something, then I just ask spirit, why is there not clarity? And then you'll hear, well, maybe they're scared, they don't want to know, or it's not time to know. So every session's really different. Just, it's unique to that person.
Awesome. That's just and it's like you said, tapping into spirit can get to another level and deeper, if you like, for a person in a session.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yes.
That's why I like, the certification that I did get, life coaching. It was more of a mainstream life coaching certificate. And it was really valuable, though, the questions that I got out of it to help open up somebody I still use. It's like they go so well together. And but the deeper understanding of their body talking, their soul talking, their spirit guides talking, it really gives us information that they aren't even aware of.
Yes.
Or it,
Until
you
you
know,
say something.
right. And then most of the times people say, "Oh my gosh, I forgot all about that." Or, "Yeah, that makes sense." And sometimes, which is understandable if it's something really traumatic or hard, it's still, they might not be aware of it, but they're open to it being open to it.
Yes, and your work fits so perfectly with what I'm trying to do here with the Better Way of Being podcast, lifting that veil on not just mainstream healthcare. It's so important, but the spiritual, complementary, alternate, whatever you want to call it, just merging them together like you have with your intuitive life coaching, just takes the level of healing and shedding to another level. It's just perfect, and it works in with so many different modalities. Like you've got up your sleeve to be able to help someone. That you too many times we think, okay, a physical cause is doing this, but no, hang on, we are a light being, we are a soul. Emotions can do so much more as well, and we haven't even talked about different lifetimes that a person may have brought through with them. So that is beautiful, and you'd get, I would imagine in your sessions, you'd be able, and you may even share how have you found the difference from just the mainstream life coaching, then including your spiritual, you'll be able to get to the core of a matter so much more quickly with that beautiful spiritual guidance.
Absolutely. That is very true. I think that's just, when I experience, like for myself, Sharon, I do this on myself too. Like when I'm feeling stuck or feeling sick, or, I tune in and ask the questions I ask, like for my clients. So I know it's effective, and I ask if I'm feeling really angry or feeling, sick, or just I tune into my own body and say, what's happening? Why are you feeling so angry? And sometimes the answer that comes out is just surprising. You
Yes.
don't even know and working with people physically as well. Like, there was one lady I worked with, well, in this one case I'm talking about, is she tried everything and she was still having trouble physically. um, a lot of congestion, just a lot of um, arthritis, a lot of pain and and she tried everything. She's very smart. She just knows what to try. She's like, I've tried everything, Monica. Can we just try what you do? And I said, sure. And it was really interesting because I wouldn't say I'm a medical intuitive or anything like that, but that information does come,
Oh,
as well as, like, my session today with a new you person, a new you person. They
yes.
started new you one, and their spouse came through that passed last year. So
Oh,
it's like different things will happen. Although I consider myself an intuitive life coach and Reiki
yes.
master teacher, but the mediumship plays a little part, and body talking, their physical body plays a part too. But this one lady I'm talking about, she her spirit body, it's like a virtual view. I know you understand that. And
Yes.
you just tune in and you see them. And she pointed to her stomach in the virtual. And I just said, because in intuition, Sharon, like, as you know, like, everything matters. Every symbol, color, word, you gotta pay attention, right? And I said, why are you pointing to your stomach? And she's like, it's wheat. I can't take wheat. Stop eating wheat. And then I said, well, this is what your body said to me. And she said she did it. And a week later, she's like, all the pain was gone. And it was so exciting. And that it doesn't always happen that
Oh,
quick and easy, but that was so exciting.
yes.
She was out of her suffering, you know.
Oh, certainly. And she probably would have gone on for ages trying to find out what it is. Yes,
Right,
what a beautiful gift. And again, the depth of a healing or a session
right,
with you. You've got so many more options. Um, and you're right. And each soul comes with their own spirit talk. So, you know, the symbols are unique. The colors, the images are all unique. You just, like you're doing, share what you see and it
right.
resonates with the person.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. I love how you said that. Exactly. Just share what you're seeing. I'm seeing this image. I'm hearing these words. And then you go from there. And then you feel into it more. And you're like, if they need more information, then you kind of go more into the interpretation, which is a little trickier, but it's still, you can get a sense for things, you
Yes.
know, and everybody can do it. You know, that's the thing is it's not just me. I mean, the people I'm working with, and I think we're all born with these abilities, because we're human beings and we feel and we love and we. I think it's just if people aren't open to it, they're not feeling it. But I think we all have the capability of doing it.
Yes, born with it, aren't we?
I think so.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And that sort of leads us on to your one of your trainings. Too many times, personally, I can remember saying or hearing others say, I should have followed my gut feeling. Or I wish I had listened to my intuition. It's always right again and again. And I do believe, and we've touched on that, that we do have such a powerful soul, a soul tool within us, um, our intuition. It really does have our best interest at heart. You know, it can be our best friend, and sometimes, you know, from being born, we forget about that. It's there. And so often we just don't trust until it proves itself over and over again that yes, okay, you better start listening to me. And when we do, magic just happens. And you're offering strengthen your intuition and trust your intuition training. This is exciting. It should be more of this to help people that, you know, just for some reason the veil's down and we've forgotten. Can you share what does this involve, and what has been your experience, like you've just shared then, in working with intuition? How have you seen it help people take perhaps even
Sure.
more control of their life on what's going on around them?
Absolutely. So there's three levels, and there's the first level, strengthen your intuition. The second's trust, and the third one is embody intuition. And each of them are 4 weeks, and like an hour and a half class, group class each week. So the goal is to just really introduce people to start with, like on the first level, is giving them just basic, introduction, vocabulary, what is intuition, and what are different types of intuition, and how do you even become aware of it. That's like kind of level one, beginning to learn about those things, and dismiss nothing is kind of my big phrase.
Yes.
Like, dismiss nothing, even if it's just the most random color that
Yeah.
keeps showing up, or you keep seeing 1212, or you keep seeing the same name or in a license plate, or like dismiss nothing, right?
Yes.
Or
Good advice.
um, yeah, right. And then that's like our big thing with the first level.
Yeah.
And then we also just learn about intuition. We do guided meditations. I guide short meditations that help people learn to grow their interoception skills, like growing their tuning inward and feeling their sensations in their body. And I'm teaching them how to see clairvoyantly. So we begin to do exercises, we begin to partner up. So we learn to read ourselves, feel ourselves, and then read ourselves. And then we also partner up to read each other. and we go through the chakra system. We go through just different types of skills and tools to gain insight and clarity on a situation, whatever it is. And each level, just you grow in your empowerment, really. So it is very empowering, because intuition is there to help you navigate life more skillfully, right?
Yes.
And then you have a helper, a
Exactly.
built-in helper, like, should I do this? Should I try this? And it grows over time, and you just learn to trust it, like you were saying. And these are some of the things we do, but we do exercises together, we practice, we do guided meditations, just to start cultivating and developing, opening up these skills. And people learn to see what their strengths are,
Yes.
whether they're more of a visual or a feeler, or they're more of an empath, or maybe all the above.
Yes.
And a lot of times people are like, oh my gosh, I knew that already, but then they just have to be reminded.
Yes, yes, and I am sure, because I love your energy, I'm sure that just even being in the space is supportive to encourage and bring that out. Because sometimes, if it's been a long time that we've listened to us, and oh yeah, and I love that you start with getting a person to understand and start with themselves, go within, because that's where it is, isn't it?
Right.
And then sharing that with your grouping together, and absolutely amazing. And with, I guess, and I've seen it a couple of times myself, and I don't know about you, once a person gets that first confirmation, yeah, that's right, how did you know that? It just seems to snowball from there.
Mhm. It is. It's so exciting. It's like you're giving them a gift of just like, yes, you already know this.
Yes.
I'm just like reminding them that they already know it, and it's within them. And it's really empowering to watch them, like, especially when we do this practice where we put the essence of the question into an object or a flower, or any kind of flower or something, and then it starts to change, and the answer appears. And I've seen the students just light up, like,
Oh,
oh, I had no idea I could do that. And it's really exciting to see that, because then you can see them gaining confidence.
yes, yes, and it's exciting to see the light return. In that, wow, it's just,
Yeah,
it's beautiful gift to when you connect to that inner energy, isn't
it
it? Beautiful.
is.
Are you doing your courses? Are they done in person, or are you offering them out on with everything that's going on virtually?
Well, all my classes right now are on Zoom.
Yes,
Yeah, just because of
yes, yeah. What's going on? Yeah.
so I've been doing pretty much all my group classes, and a lot of people are out of state as well. So they're in different states, so that
Yes.
makes it easier as well to do it on Zoom.
Oh,
So we do
yes.
on Zoom for the classes right now,
Yes.
and in sessions, Zoom and the phone. And I do see people that are in this state, in Colorado,
Mhm.
in person for
Oh, beautiful.
you or sessions or Reiki. Yeah, so it's all around. At some point, I think it would be really fun once this settles down with
Yes.
everything going on, to do like a retreat, in
Yeah.
person. I think that would be
Oh,
really.
lovely.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's so good though that you're still reaching a wide range of people through Zoom. I mean, this technology has really been
Amazing.
marvelous. Yeah,
No, it's
yeah,
a real it's really a blessing.
yes,
There's a few, you know, it's fun to have people in different states too. It's just in a few different countries too, and then you have to really work with the time zones. Like it's really
yes,
early where you are.
yes.
You saw the sunset well when I logged on. So
Yeah. Oh no, that's wonderful. And I read in your latest newsletter, and I really do love getting those about your, and you mentioned it earlier, your new you program. And it sounds like that you're getting quite a bit of interest in this, which is great. Can you share with us a bit more about what that is?
sure. Yes, then I thought of I was just thinking of at first I had Sharon just well, one-on-one, just like one here, one there, and people would sign up. And that's great too. It's wonderful, whatever people need. But the new use, it's just an idea to help people that really needed more long-term support until they kind of broke through and that commitment. So I have right now, there's a new you one and a new you two. And basically, they are new you one is like I send out a list of questions, like maybe 8 to 10 questions, and it just helps people know why they're doing this.
Oh,
you know,
awesome. Yes.
like just kind of like, what are you hoping to get out of this, and what do you already feel good about in your life, and what is a frustration right now, or what do you hope to have at the end, and just things like that to help prompt their their why, I guess, why they're doing it. So I send out questions, they send them back and their answers, and then we set up 8 90-minute sessions, and we schedule them either every week, every other week, or like once a month,
Yes.
just depending on the person. And then we begin to work. I use their answers, and I use intuition and Reiki too to remove any blocks and things. And we begin to move on. We use their answers as like a guideline, and the
Yes.
intuition brings in the deeper meaning. And then we just kind of marry the two, and we start to just begin to move. And we always start with a prayer into just what's the best thing for this person today. Um, and we just trust that we're going to be guided.
Yeah.
Just we trust that, that's our approach, is we're going to be guided to what's best for you in this process.
Yes. It sounds beautiful. Just new you. Oh, it's, and what I like is that it's ongoing. 8 sessions.
There's 8 sessions. Yep.
Beautiful, because we can't just do it in a couple or one. It's beautiful that you're there for that long term to help create the new way of being. Like we're creating new neural pathways. It needs a bit of reinforcement, if you like, along the way. And 8 sessions is a wonderful offering.
That is absolutely true what you were saying about the neural pathways. I love that. I want to learn more about that, because it's a lot of times we think, I don't know if you've experienced this, but we think those thoughts and we think those feelings and beliefs are who we are and they define us. And
Yes.
so then we put a lot of identity into them. But then once we realize, I mean, I had to realize this too. It's like they feel so real,
Yeah.
but they're really just neural pathways. There's something that's been built over years and maybe decades. And then when we start to realize and step back, right, and observe that's not who we are. That isn't an empirical truth, right?
Yeah.
It's something that I've built, and I need to unbuild it and
Yes.
build a new. Well, maybe just build a new one. Not
Just
even
build. Exactly. The neural
right.
pathways, old ones stay there, but they get, well, for want of a better word, they get weaker because we're using the other ones that have more of a positive effect on us,
Hmm.
and continuing to build on those. They get stronger, and we we naturally will go to the way that feels best. So we choose that more positive way of thinking about ourselves because of the internal reaction that we're having. It's just amazing, and an 8-week program is an awesome way to do that. At the timing, like you said, it could be weekly, fortnightly, monthly. At the timing that's right for the
Right,
individual.
right. And I've seen, which is exciting. It's very exciting just to see how we're guided because we have our idea, we have our notes in front of us and stuff, but you open up to the bigger picture, and it's always exciting to see how spirit comes through. It's like, oh, a lot of times we're both just like, wow, how did that come through?
I wasn't expecting that today.
We're both just like, that was awesome. And
Oh,
sometimes it's hard, depending on what it is, or challenging, depending on what they're releasing, but it's still moving forward and letting go. So
yeah, wonderful. That is brilliant. And you've got so many beautiful things there, and we've covered a lot already. But I certainly would really like to spend, if we can, some time talking about your absolutely amazing angelic voice. And I can back this up because I was certainly privileged enough to have that spine tingling moment when we were waiting at Stonehenge to go in and have a look, where you gave us and you shared with us that awesome song. It was just divine, particularly in that environment. It was just perfect. And you also, I didn't realize about your singing school. So and the importance of song, sound, expression, creative expression is so important, I believe, to our lives, to our soul. Can we talk a little bit? When did you start singing, and how have you actually seen through sound, through song, improve people, improve our souls, or come from our souls?
Yeah, absolutely. And you're so generous. You're so thank you though. Yeah, so the memory that comes to me is being 9 years old, and my mom took pictures of me singing when I was like 3. I don't remember that, but I have them, and I was very much singing, but I don't know what I was singing, and I have no memory of that. But when I do remember is singing in church, and it was for a concert, and I just remember starting to sing, and this thing ran through my body. I wasn't, super aware of spiritual things, or it wasn't like something I sat around and thought about, but I was aware that, wow, this feels amazing. And I just remember, wow, this is amazing.
Yes.
And I was like, I want to do more of this. And then it was interesting that I also noticed when there were areas in my throat where I couldn't get past, when I would ask to sing a solo or something. And then I was like, what is that area? I can't, like your bridge,
Yes. Okay.
and or how people call it a break, I call it a bridge or whatever. But
Yes.
when you go to your higher voice, and I remember 9 being like, how do you get past there? I'm thinking this all in my head. But then that was started the love of music for me and singing. And I also took piano when I was younger, and I play guitar too. But the singing really started in church, and it was really a feeling of just like, this is amazing.
Yes.
And I also felt like it was like, I really did feel like I was using something that I felt like God gave me to use, like
Yes.
that,
It felt like that. I'm sure it did. It really did.
It felt like that, and I didn't know how to explain it. I didn't really talk about it. I actually didn't get lessons until I was older, because there was just a lot going on when I was younger. But I do remember that. But just fast forwarding, then I just decided, I was 24, and I said, I'm gonna, or I think at 21, I was in choir all through high school, things like that, right? But I didn't really think much of it as a career, because nobody else I knew was doing it, and it was more of just something I saw on TV or whatever. So it never dawned on me until I was about maybe 21. And I started getting lessons in Denver and learning how to really, really sing, really learn how the instrument worked. And then I started writing songs and put out my first album at like 25. So that was like 27 years ago. That's a long time.
And a lot of albums.
Yeah. And I just loved it. I wrote a lot of songs, a lot of spiritually based songs, because that's always like where my head was, like healing, self-improvement. So my head was always kind of there. And that's basically what I wrote about. And I gigged a lot, and I felt really good about what I did and accomplished. And then I started the school, I think when I was around like 26 or something, and then it just really blossomed, and it showed me its niche. I didn't know I was supposed to work with kids and teens, and it just they just started showing up, and I was like, the universe is saying this is your niche. Even though I worked with adults, but it was mostly kids and teens, and I love children, and
Yes.
I really want to kind of take care of them and all that kind of thing. But the school started growing, and the school really grew. The performing grew, but I really realized that I cared more about, I think, being with people and helping them directly than performing. And so then I just made the shift over to just primarily teaching.
Yes, yes. And but it's I love that youth aspect because we we do lose the ability, well, we do lose the ability to communicate. A lot of us do, and to be able to sing that throat chakra opening, just it takes us to another level of understanding about ourselves and how we can be in the world, doesn't it? That yeah.
Absolutely. And, a lot of times we would do toning, but the kids didn't really, I didn't call it chakra toning.
Yes.
Tone and kind of match up. And it was so in a group amazing. And we were all kind of just well, that's
Yes.
one of your main things you do. And the toning of the chakras and just toning together. And then we'd all be quiet. And it was just like, wow, what is that? It was just this transcending
Yes. Oh,
experience. But I really feel like that was maybe one of the best things I've done in my life is that school with
yes.
those kids. I feel really proud of that.
Oh, and you should. And the healing that they were getting without knowing that they were getting the healing it would have just gone on and helped them no end. Absolutely, that was wonderful to that you've spent that time and naturally, as you said, it grew. They just keep coming because of the magic that they were experiencing and didn't know they were experiencing. I guess. Yeah,
It was
awesome.
definitely really special and magical, and they taught me so much too. Sharon, like
Yes.
they healed me. I feel like we helped and healed each other.
Yeah, had that sharing.
Yeah, and then that's why it was so hard to go because I was like, oh my gosh, never even thought I would want to go.
Yes.
So it was really surprising, and I kind of felt like I was abandoning them, but I wasn't, but it felt like that, and
Yes. It would have at
so
the
it was,
time. Yeah.
yeah, but I can see now it was all good.
Yeah. And you're still helping people expand into their new you, into who they are from the soul. So important to connect and be on the earth plane as our
Mhm.
true selves, as our our true vibration. Now, your albums they're available from your website.
Yeah, they're available on Energia Healing Arts at gmail.com. And yes, they're on there. They're also on pretty much every platform: iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify. They're YouTube. They're out there
Yes,
pretty much. And there's four of them. So there's three full albums and then one EP of four songs that I put out 2 years ago.
beautiful, beautiful. And listeners, I will have a little surprise at the end of this. We will have a listen to one of the beautiful songs from Monica. It has been absolutely just beautiful catching up with you and sharing your journey here and all that you offer to the universe, really, with through the work that you do. You've mentioned your website, which I will put in, listeners, I will put in the website details at the beginning of this podcast in the intro, so check that out. How else can listeners connect with you, Monica?
Yeah, so it through email is great, and just it's all just one long word.
Yes,
Energy Healing Arts at gmail.com. And they can email me there. That's probably the best way.
excellent. I'll put that in the beginning at the introduction as well for listeners. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Let's Chat program. I am sure listeners are going to be looking forward to having a look at your website, listening to the song that will be coming, and for everything that you're doing to helping people, helping us towards a better way of being. It's wonderful. Thank you. I do wish you many more connections, the best of success, total abundance, and thank you for sharing your time with us here today.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for having me. And it was really fun to see you again and
Yes,
catch up. And thank you for all you're doing too.
thank
You're
you.
doing amazing work. And I'm so happy for you and everybody that gets to work with you.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And
It's gonna get easier. I know you can't believe it now. Believe it now. Feels like I'm walking on a tightrope in my mind. I fear the fall with every step. I see the drop on either side. Trying to find a place inside where it feels safe to live this life. Just when I think I can't go on, you send me a spark to write a song. You hand me a lantern to light the way with the hope of a brighter day. A brighter day. Maybe there's a different way to see. Maybe from above, a different side, a new angle, a new way to be. Maybe every thought's not fit to believe. Maybe feelings are our friends, not to fear, to set us free. Set us free. Just when I think I can't go on, you send me a spark to write a song. You hand me a lantern to light the way with the hope of a brighter day. Of a brighter day. Down the gun, bottle, the blade, the needle, the knife, the rope, the cocaine. If it's just for a day, 'cause you matter. You matter. You matter. You matter. It's gonna get easier. I know you can't believe it now. Believe it now.